Was the Colmore pocket after, was that later?
That was, let's see, that was, when was that? Colmore.
I'm just trying to get a...
It may mention in that book.
It was late.
Okay. And then, you know, kind of pick up from there, and then where you ended your military.
One of the things I...
Yes, excuse me, I don't want...
One of the things I wanted to show is, my picture is in here.
Oh.
Here, we're coming to it.
We've got a little book.
I guess it's that. Yeah. I'm in this picture at the bottom.
And that's a picture of what?
That's a picture of, the title is, the orders were hold the enemy at all cost, and hold they did. And this is a group of soldiers going up to the front. And here's a peasant wagon coming back.
Now, what would this be in the Bulge front?
Yeah,
yeah,
this was...
Okay.
Oh, for heaven's sake. Oh, there we are. I'm in this picture somewhere, and this is reinforcements were moved forward with great speed.
Okay, just put the... All right, and you...
And I'm in there somewhere. I recognize this fellow's face and one other fellow's face. So this was my unit. And I remember the day that this happened, this picture was taken. There were two cameramen followed us for several miles at taking pictures. I think there is a picture. Yeah, here we go. And there I am, puffing on my cigarette. Right here.
Okay. So, now, were you, you were carrying a carbine at that point?
No, I think I may have had, I had a rifle at that time.
Okay.
Yeah, there's my, and this is before I was issued an overcoat. But my mother knit me a sweater, and I'm wearing the sweater.
Oh, really?
You can see that.
Okay. It's now. You say before you were issued an overcoat.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
I'm not sure.
But it was winter.
It was winter, and by this time, see, this is in December. It had not snowed yet, but the nights were quite cold, especially when you're in a foxhole.
And it looks like the roads there, are they muddy?
Yeah, it's mud, and that's why my feet got were a first casualty.
Many of the pictures there show mud and mud and more mud.
So, okay.
Dad, didn't you say at one time you were convinced that they had the dates wrong?
Yes, at one point, when they stated the date of the breakthrough, I've forgotten what the real date is. It was my impression that our company Jeep was hit on my birthday, which is the 11th of December. And it turns out, according to the book, it wasn't the 11th. So my time frame was bad even then.
But that was a period there of a couple of months of almost defeat, and we finally recovered and started pushing them back.
Right.
And got them. What about the air cover or air support? Did you mentioned one example?
That was an exception.
An exception, okay.
Most of the time, artillery support in particular was fantastic.
Okay.
And the fellows who were forward observers for the artillery were unsung heroes. They endured a lot more danger, and required a lot more physical ability and mental acuteness aptitude to survive than we in the infantry did. We were, that's another factor that is in people's minds today about, and the fellows in Iraq are subject to this battle environment even when they sleep at night, which is what we encountered periods when we were in the field, but we had periods when we were in rest, so we had time to somewhat recover from it. And when I became a Jeep driver, the headquarters and of course the kitchen, when it operated, was several miles behind the front line. So if you fed the troops a hot meal, you had to bring it up to them. So the Jeep drivers main responsibility was to do that. And in order to get to the front, you invariably had to pass through an area that the Germans had zeroed in on for their artillery. So every day you were subjected to a bombardment as you went up to the front, were at the front, and came back from the front. And then all was quiet. And this I found to be more disconcerting and more emotionally upsetting than being in that environment all the time. And this is one reason that I think the Air Force should be commended, because they were it was even more dramatic in their case than it was in my Jeep driving experience.
Take us from the, where were you when the war ended? And
when the war, I recall we came back on our way to the Far East. And I was on the train going home on 30-day leave when they dropped the bomb on Hiroshima.
Yeah, but when VE Day.
VD Day?
VE Day, Victory in Europe.
Victory in Europe, I was home on
You were home.
Yeah.
So you got sent home.
Well,
see, that was in...
No.
VE Day is in May.
No, this was VD Day, not VE. Yeah, in May I was still in Germany on the Rhine at this school, discharging German prisoners.
Okay, so.
And then we when they decided to shift operations from Europe to the Pacific, the 28th was nominated as one of those that were going to. Rumors were that we were going to go into mainland China.
Oh.
Just rumors.
Dad, I don't think you mentioned how you got to the disciplinary barracks. As you mentioned, you have a photo of yourself there at the disciplinary barracks, and you didn't mention anything about how you got there.
Well, when we were sent home on leave, when we came back from leave, the orders of the division had changed, and I think their orders at that point were to disband, go back to they were Pennsylvania National Guard, and I think they were on their way back to National Guard status. But the majority of us were transferred to other duties within the United States, and I was sent to California to disciplinary barracks as part of I was classified as a clerk typist.
Yeah.
And I spent my last 6 months, I guess, wasn't it? About 6 months? Something like that.
So that would be in, 6 months. Would that be close to 1946?
Yeah. So I was discharged in late February, I think, of 46.
Okay.
Matter of fact, we have a picture of me at a nightclub in California listening to Benny Goodman.
Oh, really?
And dance to Benny Goodman. There's a picture of...
Did you have in your military, did you have any of these you know, Hollywood people come, like Bob Hope and others that were...
When I was in California, I tried to get into a concert or a session that Bob Hope had in California somewhere, but I didn't make it on time. I didn't get in. And instead, they sent me to a Rose Bowl game, and I got a seat where I couldn't see anything. But anyway,
do you have any close friendships or relationships that you still maintain at all?
No. I wish I had maintained them. Here's a picture of the group that I was at the nightclub with.
Oh, okay.
And that's dated February, what? Something, 1946.
February 1st, 1946, Benny Goodman. Very interesting. Yeah.
And I think this is a picture of me at the disciplinary barracks.
Oh, okay. In California?
In California.
Now, these were these Americans that were in disciplined? Or?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Huh.
American criminals and unfortunates who did something that their superiors thought was military.
When you were discharged then from New York?
No, from California.
From California.
And I chose to make my own way home.
Oh, okay.
It saved quite a bit of money.
Okay. They give you a chunk of money.
Oh yeah, they give you all your back pay, and I think there was an extra payment or something. I've forgotten exactly.
Sure.
Maybe it was travel money or something.
How did you get home then?
Hitchhike.
Okay.
And I used the method that was common among all military personnel at that time, whether you were a combat veteran or stateside soldier. I went to the PX and I got every meaningless ribbon I could find and put it on my chest.
I hadn't heard of that, but that helps.
That was very
great.
common. It's easy to hitchhike under those conditions.
What about your education and so on following the war? Bring us up to date now.
That's something I'll always be very, very grateful to the government for. A good down payment on what I went through is that I got, well, I think it was a total of 8 years of college out of it. I got my bachelor's degree at St. Lawrence University in Northern New York. And then I stayed on at St. Lawrence and got what they called a master's degree. Remember, I had the equivalent of 2 years of college before I went into the Army.
Okay.
But it had been 2 or 3 years, and
sure.
A lot of that sharpness of that had gone away. So I was a little bit deficient in most every aspect of a degree that you can think of. So I stayed on at St. Lawrence and got a master's, and then applied for PhD candidacy at a number of schools. Was accepted at a lot of the highest, Harvard, Duke, Notre Dame, and Iowa State. And I chose Iowa State for a couple of reasons. One, that there was a professor there that I really admired, George Hammond. And the other thing was that the dean of the graduate school sent us a letter, a personal letter, saying that there would be job opportunities for Maryland,
Okay.
as well as a teaching scholarship for me. And I felt that this was something I couldn't overlook. So, and I'm always glad that I took that opportunity, because I think that I got an excellent education and we had a very fine experience there.
Now, how did you two meet?
Shall I tell him the real? Okay.
Go for it.
Small town.
Okay.
She lived outside of town.
Okay.
My father and her father grew up together, not friends. They weren't enemies, but they weren't friends. we had mutual friends, of course, and one of our mutual friends had forgot what it was, a party anyway, at her house, and we met at this party, and we were playing a kissing game, and the
Post office.
what was the
Post
name?
office.
Post office,
Okay, sure.
and the post office was the coal bin, so I met her in a coal bin.
Don, that wasn't really where we,
No,
I mean, later on, when we really,
Well, when I came back,
Oh, you weren't married while he was in the
no,
service?
right, that's correct.
This was before the service, wasn't it? That you're talking about, the post game?
pardon?
Game of post office was before you went into.
Yeah, before I was even interested in girls.
Well, before the service also?
Yes,
Yeah,
oh yes, this is long
that
before
was-
this.
Okay.
I think high school,
Yeah,
or maybe even before high school.
yeah.
Okay.
And then when I came back, her father owned a bar and restaurant and resort. And of course, I frequented the bar, and she was tending bar, and
Okay.
we got together.
What was your main career then when you got back and after you went to school at Iowa State and?
Well, I pursued chemistry.
Okay.
I got a bachelor's in chemistry, I got a master's in organic chemistry, and I got my PhD in physical organic chemistry, which is more of an academic pursuit, but I think it was very valuable for me in future years because it gave me an excellent grounding in the basics of not only chemistry, but basics in thought and how to solve problems. And anybody who gets an education, if they learn anything, they should learn how to solve problems.
That's very true.
And that's something I've always held up front of. And I when I got I had worked for Eastman Kodak before I went back to school as a synthesis chemist in their photographic chemical department. So I knew that I wanted to pursue that profession. And when I was in graduate school, my last year I had a scholarship, and Roman Haas scholarship, and during that visit, I mean, it was a complimentary visit because of the scholarship. I discovered that I really didn't want to make synthetic chemistry a career, which is the position they were offering me. And when I came back from that, I was given an opportunity to visit Westinghouse. And Westinghouse had more of an applied, the basis of research there was, okay, here is a need in our area of commerce, and here is a possible material that would satisfy that need. Your job is to discover whether or not that there's a fit. So you have to not only learn how to efficiently make this material, you have to learn all the properties of the material and how it would be manufactured and so on and so forth. So it's a much more comprehensive assignment than just making a compound, if that has any meaning to you.
And you started with Westinghouse and
Yes.
following your graduation from Iowa State.
And then when Sputnik came along, we decided that a large urban center and it was not the safest place to be. And a very good friend of ours came to 3M and said that there was a need for me at 3M, and I jumped at the chance and got the job.
Now, when you were at Westinghouse, you were in Pennsylvania, right?
Yes, I was in Pittsburgh.
Okay. And in 3M, you were in St. Paul?
In St. Paul.
And you were in some chemistry related?
Yeah, my first assignment at 3M was to sort of head up the research and development programs that 3M had in the electrical area, and they were a customer of Westinghouse, and that was probably a factor in why I was hired. But I very quickly branched out into other things. I got into solid state chemistry, had a program on single crystal zinc oxide, which is a very, very interesting material, which never has become commercial. Then I became interested in cyanoethyl cellulose, which is a material it's a high dielectric constant material. That it's a material that would allow a storage of very high, large amounts of electricity in a capacitor, for example. So it has relevance to today's world as well as 30, 40 years ago.
Dad, you worked on the Thinsulate project.
Yeah, then I my program was dismantled because what I was working on required new factories and PhDs as salesmen, and that wasn't exactly what 3M was looking for. So they, when my sponsor or vice president retired, so did my project, and I got into fiber end of 3M, and one of the things that we developed was Thinsulate.
Oh, really?
Yes, which is a microfiber.
Sure.
And when I left that area, I went back to the central research area and continued working on fibers, and came up with a process which was patented by 3M, but never developed by 3M, of retaining an intricate shape of a fiber when you extrude it and form it. So the fiber that I chose was one that had a very, very high surface area, which gave it a very high thermal insulation value, and that led to Thinsulate.
Okay.
And upon that pedestal, I retired.
Okay. Did you ever get associate with any of the veterans organizations?
I tried, but there was one factor in all of the veterans organizations that sent me away in a hurry, and that was the fact that there was so much smoke in their buildings that I couldn't stand it. And a year or so ago, I rejoined the American Legion, but I don't find that I have too many parallel interests that the Legion has. They're too conservative for me, frankly.
We're just kind of winding up. Are there things that you can think of now that you would like to just have as a kind of a wrap-up of your career and so on, and your Army career or anything?
Quite frankly, I've tried to put my Army career behind me. I try not to think of some of the things that I've talked about today. I haven't thought of in years. But I find that quite frankly, everything that I felt that I fought for during World War I has since, in very recent years, eroded very badly. And I'm very upset about that, and I don't really know what I can do to change it. And it's not just our political atmosphere, it's our health atmosphere, it's our professional attitude. Our whole system seems to be falling apart. And to me, a very disturbing percentage of our citizenry either are unaware of it or don't care. And I think myself included should stand up and do something about it, but I don't know what to do.
Well, thank you very, very much for your discussion and talk. We appreciate it.